Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini. If it's professional growth, personal growth, financial growth, or relationship growth, we're talking about it. One show, one topic. Diving in deep with practical and useful insights that will change and transform your life. Welcome to Success with Srini. And now your host, Srini Sarapalli.
Welcome back. Happy Friday morning to you. Today on the podcast, I am taking up the topic of multitasking and single tasking. Recently, just a few days ago, there was a question about multitasking. And in the past, on this podcast, I have spoken extensively about multitasking and the drawbacks of multitasking, primarily highlighting why multitasking is a myth. And today, I want to focus on the differences, and my idea is to motivate you to go into single tasking, which I have been doing for a long time here. I've been telling you to create your to-do list, plan your day before in the night or the one day before, and then make sure that you have time blocks, and then make sure that you're working your to-do lists through these time blocks based on priority, based on availability, based on context, and all that. I've gone through that multiple times on the podcast here. So let's get into this. Let's talk about why multitasking is not good. There is nothing called multitasking because at any point of time, you are only working on one task. It looks as if you are doing too many things at the same time, but you are not. So, first of all, switching between tasks is expensive. And now there is data. An average US employee spends about 5 hours a week switching between applications. That's the lost time. Now it's expensive, clearly expensive. There's a cost associated with it. But then there is also errors that happen as a result of moving between tasks. And every task inherently has some momentum to it. So there's also a warm-up time. So every time you do something and you stop, that means you lost the warm-up time. Yeah, you did accomplish maybe something, but you lost the warm-up time. That warm-up time, that means when you come back to the task again, there is some level of warm-up that has to happen. That means you have to see what you did and what you didn't do. So errors could happen. At the same time, you have lost momentum. You have to build the momentum back to finish the remainder of the task. Expensive. Now there is data which is saying that when brain switches between tasks, it also loses active attention. The brain rewires itself, and it rewires itself with no active attention. So people who are conscious, who are constantly moving between tasks, they can't rest. And naturally, multitasking is less efficient and high stress for those reasons. That's multitasking. Now, if you are not multitasking, what are you doing? That means you are, by default, single tasking. So what is single tasking and how do you master single tasking? The entire self-improvement world is all about single task mastery. Everything, all the books you read, and even this podcast also multiple times. So what am I doing right now as I'm doing this podcast? I wake up in the morning. The first thing I have to do is to record the podcast episode for the day. And what am I doing? I'm single tasking. I'm eternally with my soul, with my mind, with my thinking, with my awareness, consciously, unconsciously, I'm completely focused on this thing, which is this podcast. Record this podcast and get it out. Single task, completely focused. So I woke up this morning. I have chosen my task and I'm doing it in the time block that I assigned for myself, which is get this podcast done in the next 15 minutes. Okay. And what did I do? I shut down all the potential interventions, things that would otherwise stop me. All that has been removed. My phone is switched off. The speaker on my laptop is turned off, and I'm speaking into the microphone and I'm recording this, right? All interruptions are stopped. Now, is it possible that I may still get an interruption? Is it possible that I could be interrupted? Is it possible that something critical may happen in the next 3 minutes before this podcast is done and I need to go give my attention to? Yes. Has it happened? Yes, it has. So what do? Well, I stop this podcast here. I make a note, right? And then I will come back, kind of listen to the entire podcast one more time. And if it sounds good, then I kind of add to the end of the podcast. I kind of do what is called edit mode recording. I will append whatever I have to say towards the end, wherever I stopped. So I leave a note to a mental self saying I need to add something to it. And I come back and do it. But in the past, I have completely redone the podcast. I don't like these edits. I don't like going back and inserting my voice in middle or towards the end. Sometimes I might have not said a word properly, and that simple word, that only single word I need to insert, I let it go. I don't want to just insert a word. Doesn't sound right. I don't feel good about myself. I know I operate with a lot of deficiencies and I'm okay with it. And I tell you to be okay with it, just give permission to yourself to move on in life. Nobody's perfect and we all mess things up. Knowingly or unknowingly, it's okay. So, this is how you single task. You pick the topic or the thing that you want to do from your to-do list. You know the time block where you are going to do this. So, in that time block, whatever number of tasks you want to do, get them in. Focus on the first task in the time block and shut everything off completely and give everything for your full attention, with your full focus, your full intention, and allow interruptions. But if you allow interruptions, then make sure that you have notes, where you stopped and where you have to pick it up. And then the last thing, I didn't mention this, is single tasking allows you to give yourself a break. You feel good, you accomplished something, and then you take a break. I take a break after I'm done with this recording. Well, I'm going in, it's now almost 7 minutes, almost. I put an intro in the beginning, so maybe 8 minutes, depending upon where you're listening to it. But it's okay. It's fine. And we'll release this and done. So, this is how single tasking is done. Now, before I wrap this up, I'll tell you, I suggest that you get this book, The Power of Less by Leo Babauta. Leo Babauta wrote the book, The Power of Less, the fine art of limiting yourself to the essential in business and in life. Incredible subheading, powerful heading. And this book is where I picked up the distinction between multitasking and single tasking. Of course, I have read this multiple times before also, but I want to highlight this book today. As you see, over the last few episodes, at least starting from the month of May, 1st of May, I have been highlighting a book that has, or an author who has impacted my thinking, my work, and my understanding of a topic. So, The Power of Less, Leo Babauta. Get the book, read it. Specifically, let me tell you, page 28 and 29 and 30. Those 3 pages specifically talk about multitasking and single tasking, the differences, the benefits, the drawbacks, and all that. Okay, my time is up like that. Okay, I want to stop here. Hopefully this is helpful. I hope this is helpful. Before you know it, I'll be back here again as early as tomorrow. And I'll catch you on a Saturday morning. Take care. Bye now.
You've been listening to Success with Srini. Srini is committed to changing and transforming your life, whether it's professional growth, personal growth, financial growth, or relationship growth. Srini has positively touched the lives of over 1 million people through his seminars, webinars, workshops, and radio shows. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit up the YouTube channel at Success with Srini and the website at www.srinisarapalli.com. Remember, improvement begins with I. See you next time on Success with Srini.